and welcome to episode 3 of Flowers and Faith, where we combine our love of flowers and our pursuit of faith in accordance with God's Word. So welcome back. To briefly recap the prior episodes, in episode 1, we answered the question of what is faith in Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, and that is from the King James Version. We also discussed Hebrews 11:6, where it states, "And without faith it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him." So in order to have faith, we must believe God and his promises despite not being able to see those promises at the present moment. And lastly, we discussed how much faith should we have. In Matthew 17:20 and Luke 17:5-6, the Lord lets us know that with a mustard seed of faith, we can do the impossible. So today, to continue this conversation around faith, we are going to discuss another notable example of faith in the text, and this is when Noah built the ark. The message today is titled Noah's Faith and Obedience in the Flood. So I'm going to go ahead and read Genesis 6:9-22 and 7:1-8. So it says, "This is the account of Noah and his family. Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time, and he walked faithfully with God. Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Now the earth was corrupt in God's sight and was full of violence. God saw how corrupt the earth had become, for all the people on earth had corrupted their way. So God said to Noah, I am going to put an end to all people, for the earth is filled with violence because of them. I am surely going to destroy both them and the earth. So make yourself an ark of cypress wood, make rooms in it and coat it with pitch inside and out. This is how you are to build it. The ark is to be 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. Make a roof for it, leaving below the roof an opening 1 cubit high all around. Put a door in the side of the ark and make lower, middle, and upper decks. I am going to bring flood waters on the earth to destroy all life under the heavens, every creature that has the breath of life in it. Everything on earth will perish. But I will establish my covenant with you. You will enter the ark, you and your sons and your wife and your sons' wives with you. You are to bring into the ark 2 of all living creatures, male and female, to keep them alive with you. 2 of every kind of bird, of every kind of animal, and of every kind of creature that moves along the ground will come to you to be kept alive. You are to take every kind of food that is to be eaten and store it away as food for you and for them." Noah did everything just as God commanded him. The Lord then said to Noah, "Go into the ark, you and your whole family, because I have found you righteous in this generation. Take with you 7 pairs of every kind of clean animal, a male and its mate, and 1 pair of every kind of unclean animal, a male and its mate, and also 7 pairs of every kind of bird, male and female, to keep their various kinds alive throughout the earth. 7 days from now, I will send rain on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights, and I will wipe from the face of the earth every living creature I have made." And Noah did all that the Lord commanded him. Noah was 600 years old when the floodwaters came on the earth, and Noah and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives entered the ark to escape the waters of the flood. Pairs of clean and unclean animals of birds and all creatures that move along the ground, male and female, came to Noah and entered the ark as God had commanded Noah. So God, being displeased with mankind, decided to wipe everything and everyone out and decided to start fresh with Noah. The reason he chose Noah is because Noah had favor in the eyes of God. In Genesis 6:8-9, it tells us, "But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time, and he walked faithfully with God." So God tells Noah to build an ark. The first point I would like to make is that genuine faith requires both obedience and action. This can be demonstrated here. With faith coupled with obedience and action, Noah immediately followed God's instructions. It tells us in Genesis 6:22, Noah did everything just as God commanded. Noah didn't question God, his plan, or his timing. He immediately obeyed God's commandment to build an ark. This is confirmed again in Genesis 7:5, where it says, "And Noah did all that the Lord commanded him." This is also reconfirmed in Hebrews 11:7, where it states, "By faith, Noah, being divinely warned of things not yet seen, moved with godly fear, prepared an ark for the saving of his household, by which he condemned the world and became heir of the righteousness which is according to faith." And that is from the New King James Version. So rather than being separate parts, faith, obedience, and action are all interconnected and essential for our lives as followers of Christ. Our faith, or trust in God's word in the things we cannot see, naturally requires obedience, godly fear, or reverence to God, and requires movement to the things and places God calls us to. We previously discussed in Hebrews 11:6, where the Lord tells us that without faith, it is impossible to please God. In James 2:17, it states, "Faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead." So God is telling us throughout his word that not only does he require our faith to please him, but also that our faith must be accompanied by action. Just like Peter, as we discussed in the previous episode, we must take that initial step, that initial action of walking on the water. And like Noah here, we just have to start building that ark. So the next point I want to make is that having faith is trusting God's planning, timing, instructions, and will for our lives. Sometimes God will give us instructions to move, and we must do it without seeking the opinions and prayers of others. On this journey, we often look to those we are in community with for their opinions on big decisions or plans God may be giving us. But sometimes we must move solely dependent on God and the instructions he has given. Here, Noah immediately began the work God told him to do. He didn't solicit prayers from his family or friends, nor did he ask God why. The word tells us Noah did everything just as God commanded. This is also confirmed in the book of Matthew 24:38-39. "For in the days before the flood, people were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, up to the day Noah entered the ark, and they knew nothing about what would happen until the flood came and took them all away." Sometimes other people are not going to have any knowledge or insight into the things God is calling you to do. Also, I am sure many of us have previously shared God's plans for our lives with others whose faith or unbelief in Jesus have influenced their opinions surrounding our next steps. But we have assurance that God works all things together for our good and prepares us every single step of the way. Here, God gave Noah clear instructions on how to prepare before the flood, down to the measurements of the boat. He also prepared Noah for the time during the midst of the storm and even after the storm once the rain stopped and the flood waters receded. God will provide for us during our storms, during the floods in our lives, just as he provided for Noah, just as he scooped Peter up when he started to sink in the water. And honestly, just as he provided flower food and continual nourishment for the flowers when you purchase them from the store, he literally does the same thing for us. Noah was literally 600 years old when the flood waters came on earth. So sometimes we get in our feelings and we start thinking, oh, I'm behind. I'm in my 30s. I'm in my 40s. I'm 50. I'm 60. Whatever the case is, God can still use you and can still pour out his favor on your life. So have faith, be obedient, and take that initial step and watch what God can do in your life. God bless.